Little Horse and Big Conversation. Welcome to Little Horse and Big Conversation, where we give them their say, let the horse guide the way. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, we have the choice, so let's give them a voice. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, Little Horse and Big Conversation.
Hello there. I just wanted to give a little warning before we get into this week's podcast. This week we have an amazing guest. All will be revealed in a few seconds. But as part of a passionate discussion about horses, horse welfare, training, etc., there are on occasion a few cuss words used. So if you have people with small ears, you might want to put your headphones on or listen to this episode later. Or if you're more of a sensitive nature, you might want to give it a swerve. But I really hope that you're going to want to listen, because there is some fantastic content heading your way in the next few moments.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Little Horse Big Conversation podcast with myself, Ross Cooper, and my co-host, Amy Mitchell. And we are very excited to introduce our first guest of the season, Nahshon Cook. Over to you, Amy, for the introductions.
Okay, so I thought long and hard about how to introduce Nahshon. And initially I wrote out a great long paragraph, but then I thought, the man will speak for himself. So I just wrote a very few words of how I see Nahshon. And in my opinion, Nahshon is an exceptional horseman. He's an exceptional horse advocate. And I would also say he's a bit of a philosopher. So he's definitely one of a kind. And a friend to both Ross and I. And we are really, really excited and grateful to have you having a chat with us here. So hello, Nahshon.
Hi, and thanks for having me.
I love it how you've gone all shy now after the past 45 minutes.
No. We're good. We're good. I'm just feeling into it. Thank you for having me, though. This is great. It's good to see you all again. And it's been a while since we've all sat together and shared stories.
I think, was it May last year was it May or was it June last year? It was kind of this time last year that you were over here, wasn't it? So
it was, yeah. And I remember we sat around your dinner table and just ate and laughed and ate and laughed and ate and laughed. Did. So it's so good. It feels so good that the three of us are all here together again.
Yes, long overdue.
Indeed.
The stories from that table are definitely not going to be mentioned on this podcast.
That's exactly right. They are going to stay at that table on that night.
What is talked about in Amy's
kitchen
stays in Amy's kitchen.
Oh dear, what happens in my kitchen stays in my kitchen.
That's right. All right. Okay. So how shall we kick this off?
So we've had you over here for a couple of clinics, which has been amazing. And I think anyone that's been to one of your clinics, it's a really different experience to your average kind of come along and watch someone work with a horse kind of clinic. And I know that you did a lot of venues last year, and we'd been talking about whether or not you'd come back this year, and then you very understandably sort of took the decision to spend a year kind of back at home, re-energizing and working on your own horsemanship. But I guess for me, I'm really interested to know what did you take away from all those clinics that you did Because I mean, I know what everybody here took away from it, but kind of what did you take away from it, and how's that feeding into what you're doing this year?
Yeah, so I think the big thing that I took away from it, because I think first it should kind of be, um, I kind of work on many different levels, right?
Hmm.
I'm really good at rehab work. I think I'm a pretty good writer. Um, I can do a lot of things. But what has become, and I should say, not because I just like to do a lot of things, but because these are the things that horses need me to be able to know how to do to help them in the ways that they're asking me to help them, um, in a way that they feel safe. Um, and I think the thing that I have, um, that has been very clear, has been understanding, just how much, um, a horse's person's, um, a mental emotional well-being is so reflective in the overall health of a horse. How someone takes care of their mind and their heart, and how that affects, say, if a horse who has an injury decides that it wants to get better, it's always this for what? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and I think that that's a lens, or a possibility that a lot of people don't give their horses. Um, sport horses, um, you know, a lot of them fall apart just because they're overtrained. Like I have a horse that's up to the high school, and I have, let's see, four that are international standard, international level dressage from Pre St. George up to the Grand Prix, that I'm working with or have. I have one personally, and I have the others that I work with. Um, and they stay healthy and sound and happy in their work on you know maybe 12 lessons a month.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, uh, and so there's that, and then too, like if a horse is hurt, like, why, more often than not, I've had conversations with them about why it's healthy, why they should get better. What value does getting better have for them? And often appeasing their people, if their people don't get better in the process, is not enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so it's been that's kind of where a lot of my work has 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 taken me these last 2 years, and or the previous 2 years, and this year it's just reaffirming more and more, um that also, like, I've had to take steps to keep myself healthy, to be able to help horses, to be able to hold that space for horses to want to get better. If I've there are health decisions that I've had to take to be available to that work.
Yeah, I think that's actually it's really interesting and it's really important. I think and it's such a in some ways it feels like such a simple thing and yet it is so often massively overlooked.
Yeah, well, that's because simple things are hard to do.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, the simplest things are the least understood because we make them into more than they are. we theorize and make schools, and you know what I mean? Fucking just take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Breathe, drink water, sleep,
Yeah.
eat healthy, like what, like you don't need to believe anything to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I think that I think that there's a beautiful elegance in not over sophisticating something just to sound smart.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a theme and a trait, I think, in the in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that it's helpful, and I think that, and as it pertains to horses, it pulls so many people so much closer to horses, but for people's gain and not horses. They suffer. They suffer more because we fuck everything up trying to be smart, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's just human nature, and there's the discipline and that's found in just letting things be as they are. And, in the beginning, I think the test is to sit with nothing. And out of that nothing, there are whole worlds that reveal themselves, that have just been waiting for you to be still enough to see them.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You sit with something long enough, it begins to tell you its secrets.
There was something really interesting that you said before we started recording, and it was something along the lines of looking through your mind and looking through your heart.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so there's so much in the world that requires us to look through the eyes of our mind. Um, and like in that world, you really only see everything that's wrong. You see everything that's wrong and needs to be fixed. Um, and I think that oftentimes that gives people the feeling, um, that everything can be changed just because we see something wrong and think we can fix it. Um, and then there's the eyes of your heart, and like like if there's something wrong, like it shows you if it wants to be fixed, if it shows you, what it will be at the end of the process, but also begins to leave little nuggets, for me along the way to get it to that place. Um, and both are very helpful. I think one is the beat to the other's heart. You know what I mean? But I think that I think that you know people, as I have seen it, and even people that I've interacted with, who think my work is, um how can I say this diplomatically?
Don't be diplomatic. Just
Yeah,
throw it
don't
out
be
there.
diplomatic.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying, like, I've run into a lot of people who have doubted my work, and they would make me doubt my work too if the horses didn't change. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so, I think, and that's what I stand on. Like, I don't know why it works, except for my belief, I think, in love being bigger than the world and living like that. You know what I mean? And in love, there's room for everything and everyone to feel safe in the way that they need to, even if it's not how I think it should be. And for some horses, the answer, they don't want to keep going, and it's to put them down. And they look perfectly healthy, but they don't want to do it anymore. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And then there are some horses that look like they should be put to sleep that want to keep fighting. And I think, and I have seen and understood, and that, like, you know, healthy bodied horses, some of them are incredibly mentally broken, or emotionally scarred. And there are broken-bodied horses whose hearts and minds are so strong that they have the wherewithal to pull off the impossible. Kind of like we were talking about Shoto, that um, the the Lusitano that I shared the video on Facebook a few weeks ago. Um, his suspensory ligaments are gone, and it's all scar tissue, and like he didn't start getting better until I offered him a reason for why being better was a good choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And having kind of I remember talking to you about that horse when you were first working with him
Hmm.
last year, and then like seeing the little bits of progress that you were making last year with the improvements in the drop fetlocks, and then
Hmm.
hearing where you've got to now, it's a very like it's say like we were saying earlier, if you hadn't seen it, you kind of wouldn't believe it, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean, and
amazing.
yeah, and I think that belief, it can work in your favor or against you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he didn't get better because I said something was wrong. He got better because I offered him friendship.
Yeah.
Because like it was okay with me whatever he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if
Yeah.
and if he wanted to stop and didn't want to move forward, fine. If it was like, hey, we can walk over a ground pole today without having a panic attack and we just sit the rest of the hour, fine. We've had lessons where we just sat and let him breathe
Yeah.
and just rest and believing that, like, and knowing that, like, you know, bodies that want to get better are incredibly intelligent and resilient if we follow them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like as the healing happens, that regeneration happens, like there are stories that you find that are stuck in parts of the body that like need help being let go of. And part of it is just acknowledging that it's there. Nahshon, when you move in that way, like that doesn't feel safe because somebody did that and it really hurt me. No
Mm.
problem, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And like you acknowledge that and you don't try to fix it. You're just like, I hear, I'll go slower. Or what if I tried this? And then they see you working to try and help, and then they to try and help them feel safe inside of a story that they've been holding on to. And then just that acknowledgement takes the power of that story away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes the because the purpose of trauma, I think, is to heal, to learn how to heal. You know what I mean? Like I think that like trauma sucks, but like I think its purpose is to help us understand the value that like what's broken doesn't have to stay broken forever if we have the courage to not need it to stay that way.
Yeah, I
You
think
know what I
I
mean?
think on a much like smaller scale from from the horse that we were talking about, I think I've seen some big changes in Munchkin, my little Shetland. And not just like I mean physically he's much better, but I feel like emotionally he's kind of come into his own a lot more.
And that's why physically he's getting better.
Yeah.
Because the emotions live in the muscles,
Yeah.
and the muscles determine how the joints are held into place in the skeletal structure.
Yeah.
But the mental part, the fascia, determines how the muscles work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's all of these compartments, and understanding that like each part of the body has its own function that directly affect, I mean, like it's the universe embodied. Everything affects everything else, and though they seem really different, like everything is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mind and body doesn't work in isolation.
Not right? You know what I mean? And I think that that's the thing is that like, and I think that that's the thing is that like, you know, I'm all for scientific studies, but what I am interested in is what the emotional state of the people doing the and implementing the study is. Because it has, as my work has shown, it has a direct effect on whether a horse even decides they want to get better or not.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is that like, like if they don't, if they don't find value in being healthy for you, there's nothing you can do to make them that way.
Hmm.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's like trying to force somebody to love you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that you can do there to make them love you. There are things you can do to make them stay, but not love you.
Yeah. It's a different thing though, isn't it? Very different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And horses that
Yeah.
are just made to stay aren't horses that are safe because they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
They've stopped caring. You know what I mean? And so
But
I think that
yeah.
I think that there's this intelligence that they have that moves beyond like, oh, horses were born to run in fields and all of this stuff and be free. Maybe, but I also think that there's nothing that happens in the universe by accident. And like they're in our lives and we're in theirs because we have something to offer each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
And
mean, it's understanding that like usually horses get better when their people start to get better,
Mm.
period. It's alchemy. You shine the gold and you know it's good enough when you can see your reflection in it, with horses as the metaphorical gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do they get better? Because you begin to see yourself in them, not because there's something wrong that needs to be righted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's all the it's care at the not fixing, it's care. You know what I mean? Like if you come to a horse hiding hiding from everything in life, like they're gonna start hiding from you.
hmm,
Yeah. Why would they not?
And it's gonna show up as behavioral changes or colic or lameness. It's not an abstraction. And then we fall into this thing of like, oh well, and then we go looking for them to be sick, and so they are, because that's all the energy they're being fed. You know what I mean? Like, and I could, and like, and there's so many ways that this can go, but like I've had horses who have waited. I'm working with one right now, 2 years. 2 years I've been working. Well, we're going on 3. I first met this horse and his legs were splayed out like an A-frame roof, his front legs. And
Wow.
his thoracic sling was dropped and his neck was super tight and he couldn't bend to the left because his neck and his pole were so tight. They flew osteopaths in, they had vets, they did tests, that nothing happened. Nothing happened. In February, we were all standing around, um, and I just had this inclination to just like try to see him. I had there was an injury to the left, to the right, the front part of the right shoulder, and he had shown me this, and I was sending a voice message to his person saying like, I think there I like I'm like 80% sure that like this happened to his shoulder at this place and X, Y, and Z. And she told me that as she was listening to that message, she was there brushing him, and he was nuzzling that spot on his shoulder.
Wow.
And so we work and we work and we get all of these things going, and we do stuff we do exercises to clear the energy channels through his body. Then we realize that the muscles in that right shoulder are so atrophied that his right leg is actually 2 inches shorter than his left.
Wow.
And so we have him stacked. We have him stacked on where I exacerbated the short leg with 2 Surefoot pads, and he moves around, and the thoracic sling moves around, and for the first time in the whole time that I had seen him, that I had been working with him, he's finally able to stand with his front legs square.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? So it's this constant conversation of like, nothing. Horses don't do things for a reason, and or they don't do things for no reason. And if we come to inconclusives, it's because I have found they don't feel like we deserve the answer. The answer is not safe with us.
Yeah.
Mm.
Brings it back to safety, doesn't it?
Not that there is no answer, but that the answer that they have is not safe with us. And so that's where then we go in and we see, where is this horse? And for me, it's like, where is this tight spot in my body that at this moment in time with me in this horse? That's where that's the spot in me that is helping them come to the conclusion that I'm not safe enough for this answer. And it was wild, because when he revealed that, my whole body just started to tingle.
Really?
My
Yeah.
whole body just started to tingle. It was just like he had turned the on switch on.
Yeah.
And when
You know what I mean? I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can't question working on that level.
Well, you can. I just don't know if it's the, you can't unknow that it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't unknow that exists. And this is the thing, is that like at Warwick's thing in Australia, was it last year? Last year or 2 years ago? I said, I think that, horses are here now to help us heal the world that we use them to conquer. That world that we use them to separate ourselves from each other and from ourselves, in fact. They're here, this conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they're helping people find themselves in themselves and each other. And it moves beyond sport, because sport is a derivative, it's an offshoot of war. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it as long as you know what the fuck it is. The strongest or the most clever wins. And the not as clever or the weaker one generally loses. Why is that valuable? It's just, I mean, it's just in my mind, because the thing is that like, I think that it can be helpful in ways of building discipline and sportsmanship and all of these human things that we have decided are valuable. But what would it be like if no one had to lose and no one had to win? If we move beyond right and wrong, which is our mind eyes, to correct, which is the eyes of our heart. And then correct is balancing. And everything that is not there is out of balance, and we're moving towards that place of completeness in ourselves and with each other, because no one is left alone. Everybody is valuable enough to be embraced. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And everybody is strong enough to embrace. We hold that for each other. That's what horses do for me. When I teach, I don't know what people say about my clinics, right? But I do know that me setting the tone for everybody feeling worthy enough to be there,
Yeah.
everybody makes it possible for horses to feel safe to teach us all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your clinics have a very special kind of communal energy. Like
Because I love people.
yeah. And but that comes through, and you can feel it in the room. Like
Yeah,
you can feel it. And I
yeah.
think that's I've never felt that in that sort of horse environment except in your clinics. And I think
Well,
that's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so I mean for me, like the last time you were here, there were lots of really magical moments of things that were happening for horses and for the people. But one thing that really always and makes me still feel emotional thinking about it now was when Steve came in with his lovely horse, his young
Mm,
horse, that they were kind
yeah,
of struggling to connect to each other, and the horse came in kind of being like a bit of a kite on the end of the rope.
right.
And by the end of that, not really very long session, that moment when you were saying to him, just kind of breathe into your feet and drop the weight into your feet, and the horse laid down.
Lay down.
And
Yeah.
that it was such a beautiful transformation, but it couldn't have happened if the whole of the energy in that room hadn't have been right for it, I don't think. Like it just the
Well,
whole
it could have happened. It could have happened. It was just easier. And
yeah,
for that I'm grateful. Because the thing is that, you know, the more that a horse feels that that people doubt that they feel people as deeply as they do,
yeah,
the less they're willing to show themselves as able to feel people as deeply as they do.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so and on my end, that work for me is just constantly making sure that everybody that wants to be included is.
yeah,
And how that means answering some people's questions, or tempering some people's questions, or honoring someone's silence.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, totally.
Like it's a collaboration of creation,
Yeah,
like cells in a body.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's the intelligence of each cell in a body that is that clinic.
yeah, 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 yeah. No,
It's
totally.
its own organism, and
Yeah,
each of us has our own intelligence as part of that, making it what it is.
yeah,
If I come in thinking that I am the one, then I'm not helpful.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
like my job is to help people in the ways that they are coming to me for help, if I can, not to be right.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And there's a big difference. And I don't feel like people are wrong in, just because they need help. They just need help,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful thing. And you know, um, and there's so much that working from that place of the world being smaller than love that makes any place possible almost for that kind of work to happen.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not some esoteric, like, you know, altered state kind of a thing. It's like we all are very present, and
Yeah.
that's all we need. Like it's not deep. It's not an ocean. It's a puddle with the reflection of a Ferris wheel in it.
Yeah, that's a nice analogy.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not the ocean reflecting the moon. It's a puddle reflecting a Ferris wheel. It's not deep.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be. It's all water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all water. And
Yeah.
like if we just let it be that where it is, then it has the power it has the same power that it has everywhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I know that some people hear me or have heard me or have experienced and like and expect me to kind of be like this exotic thing. You know what I mean? But like it's that's not necessary. And that expectation is
I don't know.
escapism.
I think a man turning up in loafers is fairly exotic in these parts.
Here there'd be moccasins,
Oh,
not
that's it.
loafers,
Moccasins,
but
that's the word.
you know, I mean, but like I can feel my feet in them, and
Yeah.
it's comfortable. You know what I mean? It's a lot better than cowboy boots.
At
Yeah.
least they're not cropped.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I'm gonna
totally.
be standing. I mean, and I mean, and so I mean, and again, like, and there's so much of that. There's so much that just goes into how important being safe enough to feel comfortable is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
I'm on my feet all day walking with these people in cowboy boots just to look like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
that that defeats the whole purpose of why people are coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that that's the thing is like just to be able to work with these energies and to have this power. It doesn't fucking mean you turn yourself into a sideshow.
Yeah.
You just are who you are.
Yeah.
And you're not doing it, you're not given these things because you want to be cool. Like it's because they're needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you try to showboat it and like you lose it. You start saying the same thing over and over and over again because you've turned off you've shut the whale that you've dried the well out.
Mm.
Horses know when it's for them and when it's for you.
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah.
they teach you to see that too.
Yeah.
You know what
The,
I mean?
the
Huh?
vibration match,
That's
if it
exactly right. Yeah, it's a question of frequency and like that's the thing. Like, like I asked to be on the frequency that everybody needs me to be on at the beginning of a clinic.
Mm.
Whatever that means. Let me be able to vibe with these folks so that I can help them.
Mm. And I think that's why, and going to what Amy was saying, I think that's why people come away from your clinics feeling like they do, because I mean, just talking just a little bit personally, the feeling and the vibration that you're lifted to, that you facilitate within your clinics, I've only experienced that within one-to-one interaction with horses or in a more specific spiritual setup.
Sure.
Never experienced that in a horsemanship clinic per se before. So,
Mm.
and I think that's why for maybe a lot of people, they came away feeling as great as they did because that situation was facilitated, and it's not something that they allow themselves to feel or have been in the position to be able to feel it before.
Yeah, I think that, you know, all of my work is an invitation. You know what I mean? It's inviting people and horses to go in the places that they would, and to show me where they would like help. Um, or even consideration, not even help, just consideration, just my eyes or something. I don't know shit. Um, but also I believe that love is bigger than and stronger than anything else possible.
Mm.
And I try to live that way. You know what I mean? And and seeing and seeing being able to do that and not really having been given a reason to otherwise do that, to do otherwise, like has been super duper helpful for me. I believe in love. I believe in love enough to know that um that's really all I need. You know what I mean? Everything else and everything makes itself known and clear within that space because I trust it.
Mm.
I've never been given a reason not to trust it. You know what I mean? And like horses for me are an embodiment of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, we have all the sciencey stuff and we have all the measurements and they're valuable to a point. But like, do your eyes, what do your eyes see love when they look at them? Because if they see love when they look at them, that's love looking at love. It's one thing. There is no separation there.
Mm.
We can
And
settle
then
over.
like and then like everything they tell you, you trust. You can trust because that's love. You can trust love. And I've learned that when I see people like that, it's the exact same way. And the people that can't deal with me in that way, they're allergic to me and they stay away from me. You know what I mean? Like everything is just love for me. Even the pain, even these horses broken and falling apart, and the people's heart that's shattering because of it. Like it's all love. And like the answer will come if it's supposed to come, even if it's letting them go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's the loving thing to do.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all a practice of just surrender. There has been nothing. There has been absolutely nothing that I have learned or any of the techniques that I know that is more powerful than just surrendering to the moment. Everything is in service, everything that I know is in service to that surrender.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see that in the things, that the horses that you share as examples. Like it's
Yeah, and there are more. There are more. I don't know that people are ready for it. Because there are there are things that there are so many things that some people think are not consequential when in fact it is the thing of consequence. You know what I mean? Um, like kind of how we were talking about today, how like the environment, like your horse can have a field and a really nice barn, but if it's haunted, like it's not healthy.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Mm.
like whether you believe it in or not, like and you call the doctor out and your horse's body is rejecting, rejecting the medicine and insulin levels are going up because fucking the spirit of the horses that were there are eating them because of the love you're giving them and they lacked.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like there's so many things that people don't want to consider that are the answer. And I'm not gonna fight with people. That's not my job.
No,
I'm not a preacher. My job isn't to convert people.
no.
You know what I mean? But it also doesn't negate that this is the fact of the matter. Like there's an unsettled spirit in this place, and it's harming your animal, and this is why the medicine isn't working. And the answer is love. Because they're doing that unsettled thing is that unsettled consciousness is is getting your attention by taking the love that you're giving to the body of this creature, and it's thus falling apart. Like there's whole systems of thought that reject the reality of that world. You know what I mean? And my question then becomes is what is the reason that one has to be so afraid of the possibility of this as truth also? I mean, like, I not because like I go seeking these things out. Like I came into the world being able to do this, feel this, see
Mm.
these things.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's and like I'm not gonna I can't let somebody's belief or lack thereof of what I know and have seen and consequently can do to work in these spaces to tell me that like that when I can see that like there are fucking ghosts moving along the wall in your barn and that's the part of the barn that your horse is afraid to go into and like there we go. And you say, "Hey, ghost, I see you. You can stay as long as you don't hurt anybody, right? Like there's enough love in the world for you to be here." But like not feeling like I have to go in like a plumber cleaning a pipe to get them out of there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like it's not they're there because there's something that they need, and there's something that they need that you can give them. And like exorcism or smudging them away, like that's war, and they're gonna fight, right? Because that's what we do when we're afraid. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and so like acknowledging them when they feel you or when you feel them, like that's a thing. That's a thing. And I have had situations where horses have gotten better when their people acknowledge what they were feeling in the first place. And I say it, and they're like, you know what, Nahshon, we really weren't going to tell you about that, but this is what we're feeling. Fucking like I can dip into places. Ross knows
yeah,
Mhm.
I can dip into places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an amazing space to be able to work from.
It is. You know what I mean? It's and the thing is that like and the thing is that like instead of seeing people who all have the same goal as enemies or as potential people to steal their work, like everybody has their gift. Fucking work from that and
yeah,
everything will be okay. But if you're just looking for the next thing to sell, fucking nothing is going to get better. And horses are going to pull further and further and further away because they see that you're not willing to change in the ways that you need to hold the gold, and that the gold matters more than the process. And horses are only process. Like life is only process. You know, and horses are, for me, that metaphor acting as a bridge into the unknown and a safe way back. And who is that unknown? What is that unknown? It's us to ourselves. And what if we trust what we find when we look at, you know what I mean? And what is the purpose of looking deeply into oneself? Being able to see yourself more and more in others to the point where there, in fact, are no others. That's what horses are for me. I don't see anyone but me learning to love myself in the presence of people who don't know how to completely love themselves. That's all a horse's life is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes a horse spooking in the corner is a ghost that lives there. For real. It's
I
not a
remember.
behavioral issue. There's something there. And
Yeah.
just because you don't have the capacity to believe that is possible doesn't make it any less true.
Why do you feel people shy away from that?
I don't know. Because it's useful in some way. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, like, the thing that I don't understand is how people can be in the presence of that work and see it and still walk away, not honoring that as a possibility, as a variable to something that may be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely.
It's kind of like imagining the idea of heaven for everyone, where it wouldn't be like this gated community where only certain people get in. What's its value then? I have to be nice to everybody so that those people who weren't nice back to me don't come in? That's not interesting. It's not real. And what for? You know what I mean? Like, what value does that have as a goal?
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? Like, what value does not realizing that horses can see spirits because they're more spirit than they are body anyway? What value does it have not acknowledging that as a variable of their existence and the reason why things may not be getting better if that's not acknowledged?
I guess sometimes, I mean, I'm just, thinking as you're talking there. I guess sometimes people find it very hard to consider things that aren't tangible, even though they can see them and, they're witnessing these situations in front of their own eyes. When you start talking about spirits and ghosts, it, there's then this block that gets created. I
Right.
remember,
And you know what? The block is that.
yeah,
The block the block that they're having is proof of concept.
yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? The block that they're having is their heart being blinded to the possibility that this really may be. Why isn't the horse getting better? Because the person is not getting better. And so then, and there's nothing wrong with the doctors. I love the vets who love the horses. But there's, but like the problem with the body often isn't the body.
Yes.
It's the heart or the mind. It's the energetics of it. And it's the not acknowledging the truth that the body is the memory of this energy in matter, in space and time. It's the product of it, but it's not what's lighting it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've just found that most of my work is lived in what lights the body up. And when I work from there, the body changes in ways that science and medicine, in some cases, can't explain. We have a 23-year-old Lusitano who couldn't get up. He could not stand because of the DSLD. And now he's up here fucking frolicking in his little paddock. He's able to do light-ridden work. And his body was shutting down because what lit his body up wasn't being acknowledged as the heart of where the problem lay. You know what I mean? And so, like, fine, don't believe it, but look what happens if you do. Look what's possible if you do. Look what's possible if you have the courage to not allow yourself to be so far away as to not feel what's happening to this horse's heart in your heart. That sadness that you feel when you see him, that's not your sadness. That's his. How do you love that? How do you allow that to be heard? How do you take care of yourself in such a way that, like, he feels safe enough to unburden the story that lived there and it not come and live in you, but still offer space for him to let go of that narrative that has been eating him, that has been tearing his body apart. But that would do so much more. That would require so much more of us to just, see a Lusitano who as a horse that peops in a pretty way, with knees that are parallel to the floor when they're trotting in space. That's what it would require us to do. And understanding that most times when a horse peops like that with his knees that high, their backs are usually really tight and it's an incredible amount of tension. You're being sold dysfunction.
Yeah.
You're being sold a dysregulated creature. How do I know? Because I work with a whole herd of them. The higher their knees, most times, the more hollow their back.
Yeah.
The higher their knees, the more on the forehand generally they usually are. The collection isn't real.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
Yeah, it's all coming from the front end.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and these are just facts. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I don't believe, I don't have to believe anything that I'm saying because it's a truth.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that the reason why a lot of those horses fall apart is because or let me say this, a lot of the reason, especially with young Iberian horses, here in the States, there are a tremendous amount of young Iberian horses that are for sale. And why is that? Because Iberian horses, when they're young, and I'd argue throughout, they are embodiments of the people who work with them. They're embodiments of those people's hearts.
Yeah.
Iberians have this incredible ability to embody the emotion of the person that is working with them.
Yeah.
And if they don't feel safe inside of that emotion, they become almost impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
Almost impossible, which is pretty typical, actually, of any ancient war-bred horse. Not a horse that was bred to pull a buggy, but a horse that was bred to save your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just that simple fact alone is the reason why most people have trouble with these horses.
Yeah, now you've said that, I can think of a couple of very clear examples of exactly that.
Yes, I'm saying
Exactly that.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that I'm saying that has to be believed. It
Yeah.
is the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, and you realize that every horse breed has been bred to embody a certain part of the human psyche.
Mm,
Every single one. Most quarter horses will work themselves into the ground, but generally aren't that bright.
mm, mm.
And it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thoroughbreds, mine, they love you if you do what they want you to do.
Yeah.
You have to train them by letting them guide you through. You can't come in and tell them what the fuck they're gonna do. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? There are all of these things that have to be taken into consideration. What part of human ambition was the start of this horse breed? That's half the battle won.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think,
actually that's a very interesting way of looking at it.
yeah,
You
I don't
know?
think people make that consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, Amy, it's like a dog. Like you don't want a border collie if you live in an apartment
No, of
and
course
don't
not.
have hours and hours and hours a day to
Yeah.
give to just walking this dog around and around and around and around. It's the same with horses.
Yeah. Yeah, of course it is.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's any different.
No. Well, no, I mean it isn't.
You know what I mean? I don't understand why that consideration, like it's not a good enough reason to get a horse just because you think they're pretty.
No. No.
What can like what specifics, what specificities that this breed has can you meet or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think people do, I mean, I think people get it wrong with dogs a lot, but I think that conversation happens a lot around dogs. Like, I think people are quite aware with different breeds of dogs, but I
And
don't
it's with
think that,
people. Say, take
yeah,
falling in love. Like,
yeah,
what do they need that I can give them and I can't?
yeah,
That's what's going to determine whether or not this works.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's love. It's all love.
Yeah,
Love at the beginning and not the middle or the end. And you can't fall into that. You can only walk into it. You know what I mean? That's not something you fall into from a place. It's something you walk into. And I think that all of this mystique around horses are just, it's an excuse for I think that all of this ignorance that is perpetuated around people and their relationship with horses, I really think that it's just a tool for control. If you can keep people not being responsible for their part in their horse's behavior as a trainer, you're always in a job.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And if a trainer tells you that only the horses change, it has to change, and you don't, then that trainer is commodifying you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the worst accidents people have ever told me about were because their trainer told them to do something that in their gut they felt was not the right thing to do. And they got really, really hurt. 7 out of 10 times, that's generally what's going on. And this is all back to love.
Mm.
Very simple, like we said in the beginning, but really hard when it comes to bread on your table.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean Ross and I we were talking about that particular topic, a couple of weeks ago. It's
You
yeah.
know what I mean? But also, like, there's room, maybe not at the beginning, but more so at the end, because a lot of my work happens right before horses get put down or as a last resort. Like, that's when I get called in,
Yeah.
not at the beginning, generally, when things can be prevented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to fix everything that's been fucked up. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so that's about 98% of it
Mm.
is cleaning and realizing that this horse's behavior has moved beyond a person's power to be afraid of them, and so they get rid of them. And it's not just owners, trainers. They find clients that can just buy horses and get rid of horses. And like, you realize that there's all of these things done with horses in a world for whom horses don't have very many friends.
Mm. Yeah.
But the whole world is on their back. Literally. You know what I mean? And there's so much that's done to them. And you do stuff for them, and people think you're the kook. Okay,
Mm.
I'll take my dressage horses without injections, please. I'll take them being able to do the Grand Prix at 25 instead of retiring at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a totally different paradigm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and what it really comes down to is the value you place on life. That's it. There's no way around it. You can't start horses at 3, start injecting them at 5, retire them at 12, and say that you value life. You just can't do that. And then put them to sleep because you have an insurance policy that'll pay out for you to do the same fucking thing. You can't do it,
No.
no matter what you say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The love's
And
not
then,
there in that situation.
no, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
not fair.
No, it's not.
There's no love there.
No.
So, that's been that's been that's really been kind of that. And what I have found And maybe it's just because I'm not cultivated enough. But like what I found is that there's no recipe for loving well. It's just listening and trusting what you feel and letting that be the answer. And when I do that, I'm never wrong.
Well, Nahshon, we could carry on talking like this for hours, but we have to end this podcast somewhere, and I think that's a really nice point to end it on.
Okay.
Actually, I feel like that
Perfect.
kind of sums it up beautifully.
The whole fucking hour for that sentence.
Well, but I think it's kind of come from the journey of the start, and that just kind of felt like a nice kind of completing the circle of the conversation.
Brilliant.
Really. So
it's beautiful. Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
no, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. So for everybody listening, I'm sure that you've thoroughly enjoyed listening to Nahshon. It's always a pleasure, and there's always some absolute gems and things to really go away and think about afterwards. So, yeah. Any last words from you, Ross?
No, we'll probably carry on afterwards, to be fair. I'm gonna ask the question because I know a lot of people listening in the UK. This is going to be on the tips of their tongue. Would you consider coming back to the UK?
Don't put the man under pressure.
I would definitely consider it for sure. But I have to trust the process.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so, because for, one reason or another, that's just how my life works. It works when I listen and it all falls to shit when I don't. But, when it's right and when when it's right, I will definitely be back for sure. Because I also want to sit and have dinner with you guys again.
And the mighty Munchkin needs to see you again.
Yeah. So like when it's I mean and honestly, like it was me canceling this year it totally was not planned. But I what happened was there was just some of the horses that I work with on a regular basis, they were just like, we need more of your time.
Yeah.
And so it is.
And I really respect that because you've very much honored yourself, which like you've said.
All right. So let's stop here so we don't start another hour.
See Amy's face.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the stop recording button now.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Little Horse and Big Conversation. Welcome to Little Horse and Big Conversation, where we give them their say, let the horse guide the way. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, we have the choice, so let's give them a voice. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, Little Horse and Big Conversation.